I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren. I'm DJ. Thanks for hanging out with us here today. A lot to talk about. A lot of it's going to be based around just coaching, and especially with so many teams and programs looking for a new head coach, whether it be football, volleyball, basketball. Hopefully they're not looking for new head coaches at this point. Baseball and beyond. We're going to talk about what makes a really good coach, at least from my perspective. I'm going to give you 6 or 7 different points and talk about those points and why, really what these schools and programs should be looking for when they hire somebody, given the kind of climate of today. We're also going to talk about the big dogs of the Valley, brought to you by Baird Brothers. Absolutely blowing up, like huge. Wrestlers right now are angling, get it, to be big dog of the Valley this week, and they are blowing up the vote. Boys and girls hoops also blowing up the vote. So love seeing that, but we're going to make sure you know who you're voting for when you're voting when it comes down to the Baird Brothers, big dogs of the Valley this week. We're also going to talk about the excitement. There's no show tomorrow here, but there's a reason for that. It's a big weekend on the network as we head down south. We're going to be in Tampa Bay. We're going to talk about what we're doing down there and why we're down there, and maybe give you a little bit of a sneak peek on something that's happening at the beginning of next month as well. All that aside, it is time for the birthday roll call. Let's hit it. All right, like we talked about yesterday, if you have a birthday, if you're part of the YSN family, whether you're a coach, a player, former player, send over your submissions for your birthday so we can shout you out and maybe get a picture as well here on the YSN Power Hour. Pardon me. One of the things we want to do is acknowledge the people here in the Valley and people we cover for their, my gosh. This is going to kill me. For their birthday. So until we do, we got to make up something. So we have birthdays of famous celebrities, maybe people I have no idea who they are. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly a TikTok star is, a YouTube star, because I don't know what constitutes that. Maybe somebody could fill me in on that. But beyond that, birthdays today, Jeff Bezos. The famous entrepreneur that created Amazon is 58 today. So happy birthday to what I consider one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, because I use Amazon. I know my wife's out there. She loves Amazon. Howard Stern is 68 today. Believe it or not, the radio shock jock, 68 today. We have a couple Kirstie Alley would have, well, I don't know what she would have been. She was born in 1951. Today she would celebrate her birthday, the late Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley. Rob Zombie turns 57. The heavy metal singer turns 57 today. And because it's a sports show, let's find someone in sports. Race car driver Toto Wolff turns 50 today. So happy birthday to all those people out there. If you have a birthday again, send it over, whether it be on our social media platforms or send over email, info at ysnlive.com. Let's catch up on some of these comments. Here we go. Hi, Will. Good afternoon from Minnesota. Good afternoon from East Palestine, Will. Good to have you on the show. Appreciate you, always supporting, certainly. The Rutledge family, so supportive of YSN and all we do. So I can't thank them enough. Always good to see them. And Will, even though I can't see you, I know you're out there and you're rooting for us, man. Appreciate you. All right, let's talk about what we're looking to talk about today, which is naturally coaching, right? So last night, the Crestview Rebels football program and the administration named Dom Perry their new head football coach at Crestview, which I think is an amazing hire, because a lot of these things that we're going to talk about today, Dom Perry not only checks the box, but basically wrote the box on a lot of this. A guy that has been in the program since the mid-90s, a guy that's son has gone through the program, his daughter has gone through the school. There's investment in the community, and a guy that has a lot of pride, not just in the black and gold, but a pride in what his family has not only invested, but has contributed through the last 30 years almost. So Crestview did it right. And I know the administration out there, they had a lot to choose from. I think there were over 20 applicants, if I read the memo right. And you look at a program like Crestview that, has had a guy at the helm for such a long time, over, 2 decades, with Paul Cusick, and a guy that has righted the ship, a guy that's had a lot of talent come through there, who has recruited his own hallways, to make sure that his program continues to succeed. And what I love is Dom Perry is off of the Paul Cusick coaching tree, so to speak. And we need more of that around here. And I can sit here and tell you that Crestview did it right. You can roll your eyes or you can agree with me, but they did it right. When you're looking around, you always want to make sure that there's not people in your own community that you don't have to look outside. You don't have to necessarily go out and look for someone who's going to come in and restructure and have to do a lot of the things that we're going to talk about if someone's already there. And for Crestview, I'm sure there were a lot of great applicants that crossed the desk of the superintendent, Dan Hill, and obviously, Paul Cusick being the athletic director had a lot to do with it, I'm sure. But the administration didn't have to look very far. They had a guy that was really, really passionate about this program, who, again, we're going to talk about investing a lot today, and not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, physically investing in this program. A guy who I think lives with and dies with this program. He feels the same emotions on a Friday night that a lot of these young men and young ladies do when they suit up for the black and gold and for their respective teams, wherever they are. So congratulations to Coach Perry. Congratulations to the administration. Congratulations to the program for Crestview, because that's something that you don't want to break. I mean, there's so much tradition at some of our schools. There's so much opportunity at some of our schools. And a school like Crestview, a lot of people could look at it and say, well, that's a stepping stone to something else. Crestview is almost like, it's the same colors, right? The black and the gold. They're almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you're not looking for someone that you just want to stint with. You're looking for someone that they cement their legacy there. They're not looking for a patch. They're looking for a program guy, and they absolutely got it. So, again, tip of the cap to Crestview with all the again, just so much it's so easy to look at that and say, okay, well, this guy can come in and they can win now. This guy can come in and it's going to be 5 years. They got to learn the program, learn the culture, learn that. Crestview nailed the guy. They got Dom Perry, a guy that I think really wanted it from the beginning. I'm not sure the kind of the back end of it. And what I mean by that is did they have to kind of pull him into it? Was it mutual, which I tend to believe it was? Was it something that even Coach Cusick had in mind when he left the program? Because if I know Paul Cusick, he's not going to leave the cupboard bare for the next guy. And he certainly didn't. There's a lot of talent coming up for Crestview, and a guy like Dom Perry, and a chance to kind of keep that coaching staff together. I would imagine you might see some new faces, but I would imagine a lot of those faces will be returning because of the just love that they have for Dom and Coach Perry. So congratulations, Coach Perry. Congratulations, Crestview, on a phenomenal hire. Just a reminder tonight, East Liverpool will name their new head coach, which is the worst kept secret that has ever happened. The reason that we haven't kind of followed suit on a lot of these different media outlets is because we made a promise that we won't make an announcement until the school board meeting. For our purposes, I would rather get the news right and be patient than break the news and tell everybody something and maybe it's wrong, maybe it's incorrect, maybe it's something. It's much cleaner. It's much more fun for guys like me to let the school do it first. Let the school make their announcement. Why everybody's out there to break the news. I understand news is news and it's deadline driven and it's competitive. But for us, we have values, and I would rather get it right 100% of the time and wait our turn in line and do it the right way than report something that's wrong, that's to just what for a couple clicks, for some social media kudos. I don't know. We do it more than people really realize. Is a lot of times we know things and we create these graphics, we create that, and we're patient. And then when they say go, we go. But a lot of the non-media, the non-schools, and the people that are fans, they want to know immediately. They want to know because they want. That's not what we do. That's not what we do. The schools, the programs, these organizations put a lot of trust in us, and that's how you build a relationship, is through trust. We're going to talk about that. But situations like this, I'm not willing to throw away the trust that I've built in relationships through people, through districts, and through organizations, just so I can have a couple clicks on the website. We'll get those clicks made up. What we do better than anybody else is we make sure that we have these interviews and we have these conversations with these coaches, these administrators, whatever it may be, these athletes. To me, it just makes more sense. To me, it's more important to be right than to be first. And again, I think the worst kept secret in the world is the hire that's going to happen tonight. And while I'm very, very excited for this hire, because again, I think it's another one that is out of the park, home run, grand slam, we have to stick to our morals and values of the agreement that we had with different parties. So that's kind of the background and why we're getting some complaints. We're also getting some kudos because that's what we're choosing to do. And I know the schools, I know the parties involved all understand it. So I appreciate them being patient with us, but I also appreciate them giving us information and trusting us that we won't use it to our advantage to try to get a couple clicks or whatever it may be. I don't know what you get out of that, but it is what it is. So excited for that being announced tonight. And the only other one that I know, there's some other hires around the area, but Latonia looking for a baseball coach and still looking for a football coach. So if you were interested in becoming a head coach, obviously one of those situations where I know Jeff Mardig, the AD out there pretty well, they're looking for someone that wants to fit in their culture, someone that's maybe looking for that first go around with coaching, maybe a younger coach, maybe a former coach, trying to get back in the game a little bit, or somebody that feels like they can turn around the program that the Bears have. And, they've got great kids out there in Latonia. I love seeing what some of these coaches do at some of these smaller schools when they're given a chance. John Ritz, to me, in the basketball program out there, now you're going to look at that and say, oh, well, what are they? Look at the standings real quick on ysnlive.com/standings. You look in the EOAC and you find out that Latonia is 0-8 in the conference. They're 0-12 overall. But what I can tell you is they are night and day some of the better basketball that you've seen in that program. That's the boys program. The girls are 2-10 and 0-7 in the conference. They're living up to it. And with Guy and with Coach Ritz, you're doing a lot of things the right way. It's more than just basketball. It's showing these young men, young ladies how to handle themselves through adversity. You're not always going to win. And, it's one of those things where you shouldn't always lose, but sometimes that's life, right? Sometimes it's just not going to go your way. You're going to get rained on, as we are today. And sometimes you're going to get snowed on. And sometimes you got to figure out how to dig yourself out. And they're doing a great job. Latonia's doing a great job. And they're sunny side up, which I love. Dennis Dunham, the superintendent out there, is doing a phenomenal job. Not only, making sure that his kids come first, his young, students come first and foremost, but communicating as he's always done so very well. So that's my pitch for Latonia. If you're looking to coach for baseball, if you're looking to coach for football, make sure you talk and send your resume in to Jeff Mardig. So hit the gritty. Not me. Not right now. Not the gritty right now. We hit 10 million for the year viewership. I'll hit the gritty. I'll hit the gritty hard. But it leads us, and when we're talking about coaches, it leads us right into what are some of the most important pieces that you can have if you're an administration, if you're if you're an athletic director. What are some of the things that you're looking for? And I broke down what I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces that I think are very important. And I want to hear from all of you that are watching, because a lot of you are coaches, or a lot of you are parents, and a lot of you are looking to understand, what are these athletic directors looking for, and what are they missing? Or if you're an athletic director, what should we be looking for in today's climate of, there's a lot of sensitivity out there. There's a lot of, there's a lot going on, right? You've seen it in the news. You've seen, podcasts dive into it, one side or the other. But the reality is what should you be chasing, right? What should you be chasing as a coach? People that get involved in programs, turning programs around, keeping programs culture the same, and all of that. So 6 points that I think that are very important in today's day and age of finding a coach, and more importantly, allowing that coach to do what they're supposed to do, right? So this isn't, we talked about it the other day, a coach isn't supposed to be a babysitter, and that's at any level. Like if you sign your kid up for youth soccer or youth basketball or you know t-ball, baseball, whatever it is, little league, it's not the coach's job necessarily to just give you a 2-hour window to go run your errands. And that's part of the problem right now is coaches are involved. They're trying to educate, instruct, build up that young man, young lady. But parents want to kind of, it's almost twofold. Some of them want a helicopter, right? Some of them want to be there all the time, every day, every practice, every hour, every day. And some of them, they just show up on game day. And some of them don't even show up then. And those are the parents and those are the people that I think should have the least amount of say when it comes to what a coach or a coaching staff or a program or organization are doing. Like if you're not there to even watch the product that is on the field or on the court or on the playing surface, then you shouldn't have a say in how it's run. So I digress. And when I say this, number one for me, I guess in no particular order. So level of importance, right? For a coach, what is the level of importance that they're putting onto their position? And it's more than just a title. It's a position. Coaching to me is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action, right? Coach is something you do, not somebody that you are. And a lot of people spin it the other way. I'm the coach, so you're going to do what I tell you to do or say what I tell you to say. When in reality, if you're coaching somebody through it, you're instructing them on the right way to do it. So when it's game time or test time, they execute. But my question is, when you're hiring a coach at any level, what is the level of importance that they're putting into that program? And you can tell pretty quickly, right? Some coaches will get burnout. Some coaches don't burn out. Some coaches are guys or gals that continually try to find the right spot because they understand that not every cup of tea or cup of coffee is for them. So how much and what is the level of importance that they're putting in towards the program? Because if you're sitting there and you've got a guy or a gal that just shows up to practice 2 hours a day or an hour a day, Saturdays and Sundays off, the coach that, at the end of the night, they're the first one out the door, they're out of the locker room, they're out the door, they're gone. They punch that ticket, they're out, they're gone. Probably not your best hire. Probably not the person that you want leading that program or your program if you're considering a winning culture. And winning is multifaceted, not just in the standings, but academically, growing a program, all that stuff. Coaching is about time and how much you're willing to sacrifice to put into a program. And whether you win or lose, you're still putting the same amount of time in. It's easy for a lot of coaches to, I guess people, just regular consumers of sports, you think, if they won, that coach isn't going to put in as much time because let's say they're on a 4-game winning streak. Well, that coach can just relax a little bit. No. Because that coach understands that there's just as much opportunity for a 4-game losing streak after that if they don't put that time. So they're almost investing more because the pressure builds. So what you want to ask yourself is, what is the level of importance to that coach? And for a player, you see it immediately. You're closest to the boat when it comes to that. A parent typically will see that next. Athletic directors see it oftentimes, especially if they hire a coach that's within the four walls of that school building. They understand how much time a coach is putting into it and the level of importance that comes with that program. So that's one of my 6 points is when you're looking for a coach, figure out how much and how important that program is and have levels. I mean, it could be as simple as green, yellow, red. How important is this or that program or those student athletes or athletes in general to that program and to them personally? The second one is gain common ground. This one is these are more like leadership as well, but gain common ground. So what do I mean by that? So what is being invested? We talked about investing and all the things that Dom Perry's invested in Crestview. And he's a perfect example of gaining common ground with his players because he understands their pain points. He understands the weaknesses, the strengths, and everything that comes along with it. He's built that weight program from the ground up. And he understands kind of poking the bruise a little bit and understanding what gets his guys and gals to respond and what gets them in different spaces in their head. But you got to gain common ground. Everybody at some point should have an opportunity to play for a coach that they want to win more for that coach than they do for themselves. And what I can identify from all of those situations that everybody's ever told me is that coach, whether they're the head coach or an assistant, whatever they may be, they have common ground, commonalities with the players. They've invested time. They've invested time that they don't need to, time that's not expected. It always gets me excited when I see a coach from one sport sitting in the stands, standing around, supporting his or her student athletes that are playing another sport. And then you level up when you're starting to talk to that student athlete after the event about the sport that they're involved in at the time. It's impressive to me. Gain common ground. Parents are the same way. Like, it's going to be tough to communicate with your kid if you don't like Mickey Mouse, right? Kids and parents can see through kind of the BS factor of if a coach is kind of interested and he only talks to you or she only talks to you when they need you, or if they're really invested in their student athletes because they care about them. Ipso facto, going to a volleyball game if you're a basketball coach and vice versa. Or going to a wrestling match if you're a football coach and vice versa. That stuff, gaining common ground, is so imperative. It's so important nowadays because kids' attention span is gone, especially if they don't care about what you have to say. But you can gain time and gain opportunities and access to those kids in vital situations if you gain common ground. You're building equity in those student athletes that you have. And any good coach knows that. Any coach should know that. But any good coach understands that. And every great coach implements it. That's the difference. And not every coach that does that's going to win a state title or win a national championship or even win their conference. But what you find is these coaches that invest get a lot more out of their student athletes. Because these young men and young women see them in the stands. They're still, some of these coaches are idols. and will be for the rest of their days. I still idolize my high school baseball coach to this day. He cared. He invested. And there's a lot of people, maybe people that are watching this right now, that have that very same feeling, but don't understand it with their own kids. Gain common ground with your players, with your athletic director, with your community. I know I'm going to say it's that simple, and it's not simple, but it's that simple. If you want that extra effort from your kids, you have to put it in too. It's that simple. Third one, find a way to earn their respect. Just because you yell and you raise your voice, or you don't yell and you don't raise your voice, is not going to earn their respect. And many coaches will tell you that the kids will walk all over you. The parents will walk all over you. The community will walk all over you. Even your administration at times will walk all over you. If you don't protect yourself and if you don't earn their respect. So there's a billion ways to earn respect, and you don't want to be somebody who you aren't. But you don't have to sacrifice your morals and values to earn the respect of others. Coaches sometimes think they've got to be everything to everybody, and that's not the case. Now, sometimes you have to shift kind of how you speak and how you listen based on the situation. But I don't know an athletic director, at least under our banner, that doesn't understand today's climate and what coaches are going through, because a lot of times athletic directors are going through the exact same thing on a completely different level. They get you. And most of the time, they'll have your back because they understand it. But you have to earn the respect, and it's different levels. And I think you can do that by kind of branching off these few things. Don't lie. You're going to get caught if you lie. Treat others as if you want the same in return. And follow through when you tell somebody you're going to do something. If you tell somebody you're going to call them back, then call them back. If you tell somebody that if they do this, there's repercussions for their actions, and they do it, there should be repercussions for their actions. You don't want to be the person or the parent that says, hey, if I count to 3 and you're not such and such, then you're going to timeout, and then you do 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 5/8. You don't want to be that person, because you are devaluing what you are trying to establish as the rule. You have to earn their respect. So the next time you say, when I count to 3, they know you're for real. And don't lie. And lying is so broad, because lying in some people's eyes are different. So people hear different things when you discuss. I mean, it's listen, you know what I'm talking about, right? If someone says, if you're able to do X, Y, and Z, then you'll have this happen to you. Well, if you don't explain what X, Y, and Z is and identify it and draw it out, and that player goes and does X, Y, a minimal level of X, Y, and Z, and you don't give them this, they're going to call you a liar. But you meant something completely different. You meant a different level. We need you to do this, this, this. You have to be very specific when you give that carrot at the end of the rope. Because again, today it's as fast and as easy as I can get there, I'm going to get there. Right? And these kids know it, and these parents know it, and these coaches know it. Administration knows it. So as a coach, if you're looking to be an effective coach, you need to make sure that you identify specific goals before you say, if you have this, this, and this, X, Y, and Z, that you're going to get this. And that is good and bad. If you don't crack the books, if you don't hit the weight room, if you're not watching film, if you're not doing this, you're not going to play. And if you hit the minimums, you're going to play very little. And if you hit the maximums and we see the progression in you, you're going to play a lot. But that's based on merit. It's based on you did the work, you put in the time, you're getting the opportunity. Not every opportunity deserves the same kind of flush. There's kids that don't watch film. There's kids that don't watch a whole lot of film. And there's kids that live by film. And still, at the end of the day, if they're not meeting the other criteria, you can watch all the film in the world. If you're not in the weight room, if you're not executing in practice, if you're slapping around at practice, in the film room, in school, you're not getting, I mean, you're looking at someone, I'm not afraid to say it anymore because it showed me who I was. I didn't even qualify to play football my senior year. Eligible. One of the best lessons that I've ever learned in my life. I don't advise anybody to be ineligible by any means, but it taught me very quickly that no matter how much you were is not going to hand over anything that isn't earned. It was my first real test of what are you made of. I had already signed on to go to college and play baseball. I felt like I didn't have to worry at all about going in and doing my homework. And that resulted in 2 failing grades. By that, my superintendent and my principal earned my respect. They stuck to their guns and they said, well, if we let you in, then what's stopping us from letting everybody else in that wants everything they want? I was mad. I was angry. I was so mad because I didn't get what I wanted. But it taught me that lesson that you don't always get what you want if you don't work for it. There's no givens. Those people in that room earned my respect by saying, you're not playing. Coaches earn their respect. Earn the respect of parents by being honest with them, by being straight with them. Sometimes it's not what they want to hear, but they'll respect you more when you are straight with them, when you're honest, when you tell them exactly what is going to happen. Then they understand it. They can identify with it. Same with administrators. There's a bad situation. Always good to let them know before they hear it somewhere else. And especially with your student athletes. Make sure you earn their respect, because just as we talked about a slide ago with gaining common ground, those young minds, those still growing, they're going to find out that they can trust people like you. Maybe not from their background, maybe not cut from the same cloth, but if they can trust you, watch how much you can get out of them. And if you earn their respect, they've got to do the same back to you. You can they'll earn yours as well. Let's take a break real quick before we get to the final 3. Again, we want to thank our sponsors. You see them running up in the right-hand corner of your screen. If you'd like to become an advertiser on YSN, whether it be here on our shows, whether it be all over our network, head over to ysnlive.com, click on advertise, and you can get started very quickly. Just fill out a form. We'll get with you, and then obviously you can have your brand seen, just as you see Greenwood Chevrolet right there, and of course our friends at Toyota of Warren, who are the proud sponsors and title sponsors of the YSN Power Hour. We'll be back right after this on your sports network.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
And again, thanks to our sponsors here on the YSN Power Hour. So the last one we talked about, earn respect. This is kind of the letter to coaches and administration, what you're looking for when you hire a coach. And there's so many great coaches around here that have jobs, and there's another kind of bushel of them that are still available. They're still, accessible to get them in your program. So I highly encourage it. Coming off the kind of the cape of Crestview hiring Don Perry last night, and of course the hiring of the new East Liverpool football coach here this evening at the school board meeting. A lot of great coaches around the area. Maybe not, I wouldn't say looking for jobs, but probably could be coaxed to come back if the deal was sweet enough, right? If you sweeten the pot enough, I think that the coaches would be interested in making it a run. Here we go. Speaking of high caliber coaches, here's one right here. Dave Chrisman, the head ball coach at the girls basketball team at Columbiana, says, be a person of high character if that's what you want your players to possess. Man, is that a good one. And high character, I mean, that's something that you get to dictate, right? What is high character to you? There's a lot of opinions about how high it is, right? I always call it be a high tide guy. High tide raises all boats. Be less worried about your boat and more worried about everybody else's. And that way you'll sail a little smoother along the way. That's earning the respect. So check this one out. This is one that I'm really excited about. And I think this is kind of where Coach Chrisman would agree with me, hopefully, in establishing trust. It's a lot like earning respect, right? But establishing trust. If you say something, mean it. If you say that, we're going to put you in for one play, don't get their hopes up of playing the entire game, the rest of the game, whatever it may be. If you say that you're going to put somebody in to start them. If you tell somebody that they're not going to play, tell them why and help them establish how they can play at all and then play more. If you establish this trust, whether it's in your community, whether it's with your players, whether it's with your administration, there's a whole lot less of the eyebrow raising going on, right? There's a whole lot less of having to look over your shoulder. And I know that I hate it, despise it, when someone's always looking over our shoulder, wondering what we're doing and why we're doing it. If you trust me, and that's become a big thing, hey, do you trust me? Then let me handle it. And a lot of times people will say they trust you and they really don't. And those are the people that keep coming back and knocking on the door and saying, well, why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? Just trust me. If you trust me, we're good. But it's easy to say, just trust me. And it's harder to explain why you deserve to be trusted. In today's day and age, it's a lot about, I wish it was just about playing time. It's about playing time. And on top of that, it's about execution. Let's get something completely straight. Coaches can call plays. They cannot go and run them for you. If you're a football coach, you're not going to be the tailback on the football team. If you're a high school basketball coach, Coach Chrisman, perfect example, he's not going to be able to go and shoot that three-pointer for you. He can help you and coach you and instruct you on how to get that three ball working, but he can't go and do it for you. So coaches that are under heavy criticism for points per game or innings per game or minutes per game from established from football, or my kid's not getting the ball enough, or my kid, like, whoa, slow it down. Your kid's got 3 points in the game. They're averaging 9. They've missed 50 shots. How is that the coach's fault? Well, they're not running good enough play. No, whoa. If you miss that many shots, you're probably getting yanked out of the game. Not your night. That's okay. Not everybody has a 5-star night every night. Believe it or not, your kid's probably not LeBron James. Your kid's probably not Derek Jeter. Your kid's probably not Sue Bird. Coaches don't deserve some of the heat that they get. They don't. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. In a world full, and this is the one that drives me bananas, guys. We have so many parents out there so quick to pull the trigger on if their kid's not getting playing time or their kid's not. See this? I'm taking them somewhere else if I don't get my way. I'm not an administrator. I don't claim to be one. I've been in a position of politics before. And you know what I would say? And it might cost me my seat at the table. I would say, see you later. Bye. Like, we don't deal with those kind of people. That's not okay. If that's the what, because who's to say when you go somewhere else that they're not going to do the exact same thing? Guaranteed, if your kid misses 50 shots or your kid, has 10 holding penalties, they're not going to play there either. Just because you can move your kid doesn't mean you have to. Now, if you're moving them because of a culture reason, or you're moving them because, there's a lot of reasons that open enrollment is a very good thing, or moving your kid to a different school, whether it's open enrollment or not, it's a very good thing because I believe in a capitalistic economy and opportunities. If you're not happy here, you deserve to go over here. But at the very bottom of my list is reasons to go to another school is athletics. And especially 1A, because your kid's not getting opportunities and things that's not okay. It's not right. It's not teaching your kid anything. You're not establishing the trust with your kid. And on the vice versa side of it, if you're an administrator or you're a coach that caves into that, then you're not establishing the trust either. What you're doing is you're creating a problem. And you're feeding into it. If the person raises up well, I'm going to go here. Okay, well, we'll give you more minutes. We'll give you more shots. Because you've got, in basketball, you got 4 other people on the court that are looking and saying, oh, so that's what I have to do. Okay, I can do that. Because everybody's looking after their kid. Everybody's looking after themselves. Right? Many times. Not every team. Many times you're going to see that. Establish trust. If you can establish trust, I'm not saying you're getting rid of all of that, but you're going to get rid of, you're going to get rid of most of it. You're going to have an opportunity that at least you can explain your situation. If you have that trust, people will understand with a lot more frequency than they would if there's no trust, there's no buy-in. So establish that trust. Relate to your young athletes. If they're listening to something, you listen to it too. If they're watching something, maybe you need to watch it too. Put yourself in their shoes. As I get older, I get a little bit more like, wow, we didn't do that when we were kids. And I hear that because I'm old. And I remember when our coaches used to say, I would never do that if I were a kid. And the parents, we would never do that when we were kids. People said that every generation. But nobody wants to relate to the new generations, right? Some coaches have a great system where they hire on players or former players to help with that relation, to help with that understanding. There's a vernacular out there that I have no clue, zero idea of what it means. Cap, no cap, like all this stuff. I had to literally, I asked Shane Lindstrom, what are you talking about? What does that mean? And they'll explain it to you. But that bridge, that relation, how you relate to young athletes is vitally important with how you can construct or absolutely collapse a program. Again, it goes back to not just relating, but it goes back to earning their respect. If you're willing to go the extra mile and learn a little bit of what they're talking about, right? Even if you don't agree with it, if you understand it, then you can discuss it. But if you're not going to relate, if you're just going to say, stop saying stupid stuff. Well, it's not stupid to them. That's the things that they say, the things that they do are important to them, or they wouldn't do it. Remember, high school especially is the 12 years of your life that you do anything in the world to fit in. And the moment you get out, the world expects you to stand out. So they're doing and saying things just to fit in, just to be popular. The majority of them. There are outliers, as there are in everything. Coaches, relate to your young athletes. Relate to your athletes and relate to your coaches. Understand that family comes first in many coaches' lives. Understand that. Understand that what's important to these student athletes. Relate to the young coaches, or young athletes, rather. Last one. Believe it or not, this to me is the most important thing you will ever learn. If you want to be a leader, if you want to be a coach, if you want to just, in general, be a good person. And it's lead by example. Lead by example. Stop telling, monkey see, monkey do, right? Monkey pee all over you. Lead by example. If you're able to do things, say things, mean things, and back it up. Don't go tell somebody to mop the floor if you don't mop the floor. Don't tell somebody to go run 40-yard dashes for 30 minutes if you're not able to do it. Don't go tell somebody that it's easy to do something when you've never done it. You've never been there. Don't tell people to go places you wouldn't go. You lead by example. If you're a coach, I don't care where you are, you should be leading by example. If you don't want your kids to curse, you certainly shouldn't curse. If you want your kids to take their hat off for the national anthem and hold it over their heart, you should do the same. If you expect a high standard on their academics, then you should probably be up there as well. If you expect them to go get an education, then you should want one too, or you should have one. Lead by example. Have it listed out. This is what I want you to do, and here's why I want you to do it. Because while these kids are at home, fueling their bodies, resting their bodies, doing everything they can to nourish up so they can play the next day or go to practice the next day, you should be putting in the time because you respect them and you want to lead them. You should be putting in the example of what that next day is to bring to them, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Lead by example. If you don't want your kids out there, trying to start drinking and doing poor choice things, then you need to lead by example and establish by making good choices. It's that simple. It's that simple. So again, show your level of importance, gain common ground in your community, the people that surround it, earn the respect of the people in that community, establish trust within it, relate to your young athletes, and lead by example. Simple. If you follow those 6 steps, I guarantee you, I don't guarantee you success, but I guarantee you'll be further ahead than if you didn't. That's my guarantee. Not that it means much, but hopefully I earned your trust enough with what we've done, with what I've seen in my 37 years, that this relates to you in some way, that you took something away today that either makes you a better coach or puts you on the track to become a better coach, better leader, better student athlete, better parent in the community, better administrator, whatever it may be. I hope it made you better today. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? Basically just going to be an update on what we're doing. Joe Dickey Electric, anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, go to dickeyelectric.com and tell Eric Carlson I sent you, my dude. I got to take that down, I think. That's not good, the banners. So a couple things. We're killing it in Big Dogs. I know I talked about it earlier in the show. There's a bazillion votes on Big Dogs right now. So if you're a little nervous, if you're on the Big Dog train, head over to ysnlive.com/Big Dogs and start voting your brains out, because it's close and there's a lot of votes. And I think there's a lot of nervousness. So get out there. Voting ends on Monday due to the holiday. Now, that being said, there will be no show tomorrow as myself, Sam Torres, and Ryan Cole, the 440 and Goal guys, we will be in Tampa Bay Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as we come home on Monday night, because we are following the FFWCT, the Flag Football World Championship Tour, down to Tampa, Florida. where we will be with our Game Changer friends. Again, the partnership established with Game Changer has been surreal. We're excited for that. There should be some local teams, I think. We're trying to flag them down. No pun intended. But we're excited for that. There will be a lot of games on Sunday. You'll be able to visit them on ysnlive.com. We'll have that established for you throughout the day. So check that out. Maybe even a game on Saturday night if we can find one that's suitable. And then on top of that, I don't know if we're allowed to break this or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. This past week, we were invited to Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the Pro Bowl. And we will be airing the younger edition of the flag football. So the Pro Bowl, I don't know if you know this or not, in the NFL is now flag. They're changing it up a little bit. Everybody's leaning towards flag football a little bit. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Be on the lookout for some breaking news, maybe in a couple months. But we are doing the flag football. We'll be streaming it. So we'll have some, I believe we'll have some celebrity appearances on our network. That is over the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of February. So we're hoping that you'll tune in for that, as I know we're going to have some locals out there in Las Vegas. So just blessed for the opportunity. I'm excited. If you would have told me this 6 years ago that we'd be covering flag football in Las Vegas on behalf of the NFL, I don't know where I'd be, but I'm excited. I'm grateful for all of you. The last thing I want to bring to your attention, we'll probably talk about it a lot more next week because we're making a change. Anybody that has seen our power rankings in the past, they have been voted on by YSN staff. We're changing it up. We're going from 10 to 25. And everything is going to be based on RPI, off of Martin's RPI. If you don't know about Martin's RPI, make sure you look it up. It's a phenomenal resource. And why the hell are we just doing it on votes as YSN as opposed to if we were doing it by science and calculations? We want to be legit. That's what we strive to be. Everything that I said today, it's about raising yourself up. It's about extending yourself. And courtesy of Quinn Pushkar, who is a nerd when it comes to this stuff, he had a great idea. He said, why don't we just do this? So starting on Monday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, hopefully Monday, fingers crossed, we will be extending a brand new version of our power rankings that are based on records and opponents' records and opponents' records. And that's all the RPI. So excited for that. A top 25 in basketball, boys and girls, is going to be so exciting. And there's nothing that you can do. There's no, I know people were upset, because my team's here and my team's not. Like, there's a lot of opinion based in that. Now there's no opinion. Now it's just straight numbers. So if you want to be able to consider yourself a top 25 team, a top 3 team, the top team, guess what? Time to schedule up there, Buttercup, and beat some teams. That is going to do it for the YSN Power Hour. So fortunate to have you guys join me today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks to our friends at Toyota of Warren for always supporting. And we will see you Tuesday on the YSN Power Hour when I return to the good old HQ and the athletics studio. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. We will see you next week here on the Power Hour provided by Toyota of Warren. Good night. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your